Okay, so today we are going to continue learning Dativ. Okay. First thing I'm going to do is get those charts back into your notes again, because it seems like that's still something that people need to work on memorizing. So, let's go masculine, feminine, neuter, plural, nominative, accusative, dative. Okay. Let's do dare words and ein words first. We'll do them on the same chart, so leave space. Okay. So, let's go straight across the board to start. So, dare words, masculine, regular, neuter, I'm sorry, nominative, dare, feminine, die, neuter, das, plural, die, accusative, den, feminine, neuter, computer's taking off, plural, die, dative, dem, feminine, der, neuter, dem, plural, den. I had some students way back in the day. Have I ever told you about Reezy and Easy?
What?
A simple no instead of a what would be probably relevant. So no? Okay. So I had some German 1 students when I was student teaching in Minneapolis who came up with a little thing about how to remember them. There once was a man named Nad who had 3 daughters who were bad. Reezy and Neezy were both quite cheesy. And Merman was the worst one he had.
Oh, okay.
Some people remember Dativ as Mr. Minnesota as well. If that helps you remember him. So the last letters. Mr. Minnesota. Okay. Sure. There once was a man named Nad who had 3 daughters who were bad. Reezy and Neezy were both quite cheesy, and Merman was the worst one he had. It's it's cheesy. I mean, as it states in the thing.
And we now have a recording of it.
That you do. But they would remember it, and they would sit down. I mean, this was German 1, too. They learned Dativ in German 1 at that school. And they sat down at every quiz and test and recited it and wrote out the little chart because they didn't have any posters on the wall. So they remembered it that way. Okay? All right, moving on to ein words. Okay? So let's go with nominative first, going across. Masculine, what's your ein word? Ein. Feminine? Eine. Neuter? Ein. Plural? Yep, we're going to use keine since you can't have plural us. That is okay. Accusative, masculine. Einen. Feminine. Eine. Neuter. Ein. And plural. Keine. Gesundheit. Dativ. Einem. Feminine. Einer. Yep. Neuter. Well, started to say keinem. And plural. Good. Okay. All right, let's go on to personal pronouns. Okay. So regular pronouns you've already learned in nominative. Ich, du, er, sie, es, wir, ihr, sie, and sie. What does ich change to in accusative? Mich. What does it change to in dative? Mir. I always found it more helpful to learn them like that instead of learning it accusative and then learning the dative. So ich, mich, mir, du, dich, and going through it that way and memorizing them straight across, so to speak. So what does do change to in accusative? Dich. Dative? Dear. Er. Ihn. Dative? Ihm. And you'll note last letter matches masculine dirty das words. So der, den, dem, er, ihn, ihm. Okay. What about sie? So it stays sie in accusative and changes to ear. Good. And same thing there. Die, and then it was die because there was an e there, and that changes to der. Okay. What about s? S stays s, and then it changes to ihm. It's the same thing there. Das, dem. Okay. What about wir? Uns. And dative? Uns stays uns. So think us. Ihr? Euch. Love that word. And dative? Euch. Alright, formal sie. Stays sie. And dative? Ihnen. Capitalize it. Okay, and the form of sie. Sie. And ihnen, little I. And that last letter works there too for the plural. Die, den. Okay. So use that as a help too. Moving on. So let's practice a little bit, just a couple sentences of how we've done dative before. Okay? Because you're going to learn about something new today. Okay, so if you had a sentence like, I'm buying my mom a table. It's a very exciting gift for your mom, but we're changing it up from flowers. Okay, so you're buying your mom a table. What's your main subject in that sentence? I. Yep. So I is the main subject. What am I doing? Buying. Yep. So the am buying. What is that? What are we going to label it as? Verb. Mm-hmm. And we've got my mom and a table. What are we buying? A table. What case is a table going to be in? Accusative. Good. It's the direct object. So it's accusative. So we are buying it for my mom. So to or for whom something's being done is dative. Okay, so she is the indirect object, so she's dative. So how would we write that sentence out in German? First word, it's going to be what? Yep. Then what? Good. Okay, so mine with some ending. What's your ending going to be? Minor. Why? It's feminine and dative. Richtig. Because remember, it's all based on the mom. It has nothing to do with whose mom it is. It's all based on the mom. Okay, meiner Mutti. Okay. Table. Wie sagt man Table? Tisch. Masculine, feminine, neuter, or plural? Masculine. Good. And you've told me it's accusative, so how do you say in accusative for masculine? Einen. Good. Let's just change that one up very slightly. Instead of saying I am buying my mom a table, how would you change it to say I am buying her a table? Instead of meiner Mutter, what would you put there? Ihr. Because you're talking about her, so the original is she. And you're changing it to dative. So you could say ihr instead of those two words. Make sense? Okay. Now the new part. Do you guys remember what accusative pronouns are? Or not pronouns, excuse me. Accusative prepositions? Tell me.
Something that comes before a word that makes it accusative under all conditions.
What? Yep, it's the word that you put before a noun that changes automatically. It's like a trump card and changes whatever it was after it into accusative. There are dative prepositions as well. So today we're learning about those. Okay? So, Dativ Präpositionen. So whatever immediately follows a dative preposition is dative. Okay, here we go. First one. Aus. You've seen that one before? Anybody remember what that one means? From or out of. Good. Next one is außer. That's a new one. Try that one. Außer. Everybody. Außer. Okay. What does außer mean? Any clue? This is a tough one. You haven't seen this one, really. Except. It's like saying except for something. Next one is by. And by can mean at. Like you're talking about, I work at McDonald's, you would use by. Okay. It can also mean with. Usually when you're talking about living with someone. Okay.
So what is the difference, if you're using it as with, what is the difference between by and mit?
If you use mit when you're discussing living arrangements, it can indicate that there is a non-platonic relationship. So, usually it's pretty obvious what you mean, but it's good to learn the right way the first time. Okay. This one, you know. What does mit mean? With, yeah. So that by one, when you're talking about living with someone, that's one thing. Otherwise, if you're going out and saying, like, I'm going to the movies with my parents or whatever, you would still use mit in that instance. It's specifically referring to living situations that you would use by with people, unless you are in a relationship with them. Okay? Okay. So the slower version. Außer bei mit. Alright, next one. Wie sagt man after? Nach. Good. So nach means after. It also means to. And when you're talking about to, you're talking about, I like to think of it as outside the city where you are. So cities, states, and countries. It's also used for your own home. So it means after, It means to for cities, states, and countries. And you use it for going to your house. But just your house. This one you've seen before. German one. I think it was one of the questions in the 30s. Seit wann lernst du Deutsch? Since. Good. It implies a continuous period of time. So there might be like a blip, like a week or something that you take off in there. But if somebody asks you, you know, seit wann spielst du Klavier? You know, how long have you played piano for? We would tend to say for, but they would use since. So since when have you played the piano? Okay? So continuous period of time typically. Hey, that one you've seen as well. How do you say that one? Von. Yep, that's another one that means from. How do you say the next one? Zu. Yeah, multi-purpose word. In this particular instance, it means to as well. Think, not, cities, states, countries. It also means at, but only for your house. At home. There's many, many other meanings, but as far as the preposition goes, that's that one. Zu Hause. Okay. One more. This is my favorite one. Zu Hause. Yeah. You're talking about this? The zu. Zu. It was just repeating this word that was right here. These are the same. Okay. That's an R at the end here. Okay. Try that one. Gegenüber. Gegenüber. This is a great word. Gegenüber means across from. Okay. This one is special though. Goes after the noun. So you would say like the street across instead of across the street. Okay, but it still affects the noun. Okay, and since we're recording, and you'll have this for all time if you download it, there's a little song that goes with them so that you can remember them. Okay. I could never remember, so there's accusative prepositions, dative prepositions, two-way prepositions, and genitive prepositions. You haven't learned two-way or genitive stuff yet, okay? And you won't this year. But I could never remember which ones were which. So my German teacher taught me a song, and I remembered which ones were the dative ones. And then I narrowed it down from there. So that's how I started, okay? Außer bei Mittagszeit von zu gegenüber. That was it. That's your little song. Okay? Nachtzeit von zu gegenüber.
Oh. So just singing the song, the words?
That's it. Because then all I need to know is that little song. That was a song that had the dative prepositions in it. With the gegenüber at the end, that is probably why it's my favorite thing. Okay? So again, one more time. Außer bei Mittagszeit von zu gegenüber. Okay? You're going to sing it. Get ready. Are you ready? Should we want to go slower than that? Slower? You want to rap it? Come up with a new song. Yeah, that's fine. So, we'll go at this speed. Außer bei Mittagszeit von zu gegenüber. Okay? 3, 2, 1. Außer bei Mittagszeit von zu gegenüber. Okay? Very good. Alright. Let's try a couple sentences and then we'll be done for today. Okay? Wie sagt man, I am going home with you? Okay? Start me off. First word is what? Ich. Then? Gehe. Then you'll do the with you and then the home part. Okay? So, with you. Mit? Not dich. Why not?
Oh, it's a dative.
Because it's dative. Yeah, dich is accusative. Gut, so ich gehe mit dir. So this is dative. Nach Hause. Remember, zu Hause means at home. Nach Hause means you're going home. How about he's going after the game? Geht after the game. Nach. Wie sagt man game? Spiel. Gut. Masculine, feminine, or plural? Neuter. It's neuter. Okay, so das Spiel. So what are we going to do? What comes next? Dem. Why? Nach made it dative. You got it. Nach dem Spiel. One more. The school is across the street. Die Schule ist. Now careful on this one.
Die Straße gegenüber.
Close. Very close.
Oh, it's. Oh, wait.
Say again. Der Straße gegenüber, yeah. So the gegenüber one, remember, is the one that goes after the noun that it affects. Gegenüber. Okay, so that whole thing is dative. Just done to me that in that glorious little rhyme and in your notes, or not rhyme, but in a little song and in your notes, they're on all in alpha order except for gegenüber. Gegenüber comes after the rest of them, just like it comes after the noun. Ah. 20-something years later, I figured out. I just assumed it was because it didn't fit in the thing. Maybe it was. Coincidence. Okay. Fragen?
Nein.
Gut.